Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be looking at linear regression with PySpark. Let's get started. So we've done a couple examples of linear regression with PySpark, but I thought we'd maybe do this with another data set and we can kind of update some stuff that has been breaking for people in the past. So a couple things: that the location where PySpark seems to be holding their PySpark and Hadoop downloads have kind of changed. So we're now on Hadoop 3.2, so if you guys can go on and update that as well. So this is basically all of the kind of a boilerplate. If you want to be using PySpark and Spark on Google Colab, you can just write up all of this and run it. It does take a while, okay? This takes like, let me maybe put in a warning up here, okay? Takes some time. This is like 3 to 5 minutes, okay? So it'll hang there for a little bit. Don't worry about it, okay? So we have basically done our imports. We found PySpark. So let's go on and get going with this. So I'm going to be using kind of a relatively famous data set for this, and it is, let me do head, and let's see, we want, what did I name it as? Let me actually see what I named it as. Cruise dataset. Okay, and here you can see that it installed all of the PySpark stuff. The reason I didn't do it in this is just because it takes a long time. So let's do head cruise CSV dataset. So here you can see that we have our basic data set here. So we have ship name, cruise name, age, tonnage, passengers length, cabins, passenger density, and crew. Now what we will want to kind of work on, okay, is we're going to be looking at this crew variable. We want to predict how many crew members you may need based on all of this other information, okay? So we'll also play with a little bit of dealing with some categorical variables. We'll maybe use either the ship name or the cruise line, something like that to kind of play with. So let's go on and get started with this. So first off, from PySpark.sql, we want to import a Spark session. Oops, Spark. Okay, let's go on and start that up. So let's do Spark session dot builder dot app name, and let's call this crew prediction. Okay, because that's actually what we're going to be doing. And let's get or create. And once that Spark session is done, let's go on and start typing this out. So we want spark.read.csv, and we want this to be our what did I call that again? Cruise dataset. Cruise dataset.csv. Oh, and this is, I believe it's actually in the content folder. And let's go on here and infer our schema to be true, and we want the header to be true, again, because we can see here that, oh, whoops, okay, so it doesn't like that. Let me put that there. Here you can see that it does indeed have a header. This is the header row that we want with our CSV file. So we have actually gone on and grabbed the data. So now let's actually go on and print out the schema to take a look at it. So you can see here our ship name is a string, our cruise line is a string, age is an integer, tonnage is going to be some sort of double, passengers is a double, length is a double, cabins is a double, passenger density is a double, and crew is a double. So crew, this is what we're going to be wanting to predict. So again, we're going to want to kind of take that out. And let's maybe, let's actually just go on and maybe look at the data set real quick. So you can see here that this is just the top 20 rows here. So we have, everything looks relatively clean. Maybe this tonnage is a little wonky. Okay, maybe we'd want to deal with it. We'll have to maybe deal with it later on because it has all these large numbers in it, but that's not necessarily a problem. Let's also go on and maybe grab in our descriptive statistics. Okay, again, just to kind of show you guys how this is going. Now, the biggest thing that we probably need to do, okay, and so if we kind of go back up here, is we're going to need to deal with some categorical variables. Okay, so we have here cruise line and we have ship name. So ship name is going to be basically useless to us. Okay, in this instance, we're going to want to deal with a cruise line. Okay, so that's going to be maybe useful to us, and we need to turn it into a categorical variable. So let's maybe go on and do a little bit of looking at the cruise line count, and we want to show that data. So what we'll probably see here is that there's definitely some variation, okay, in the cruise line. Okay, so this may indeed actually be very important to us. Okay, so Costa seems to have quite a few. Carnival is pretty famous. Princess, Holland American, and Royal Caribbean these are our big ones here. So definitely the cruise line may have an impact on the crew. Okay, but and maybe not. We'll take a look at that and actually see. So how do we go about creating categorical variables? Okay, that's the question here. Well, we can use this since we go back up to here. We're going to be grabbing this cruise line. Okay, now notice that is a string. Okay, so we're going to need a string indexer. Okay, so from PySpark.ml.feature, we're going to import in here string indexer. Okay, and we're going to go on and create up an indexer. And what we're wanting to do, string indexer here is going to take in a couple different things. It's going to take in an input column. Okay, whoops, and that's not going to help me out at all. And that's going to be the cruise line. Okay, it also needs an output column here, and I'm going to call this cruise cat because it's going to be for our categorical variable. And next thing that we want to do is we're going to actually have to fit and transform this. So indexed, okay, because it's actually going to index it. That's going to take our indexer. Okay, then we want to fit it on our data frame. We want to transform our data frame. Okay, and I'll run that, and then we'll do transform. There we go. Transform. Sorry, there we go. Okay, so let's actually go on and take a look at our indexed data here. So all I really want is this last line here is this cruise data here. You can see now that it is actually created up this nice cruise cat variable, and notice here now they are numeric. Okay, so we can actually do some regression with them. Okay, that's fantastic, because again, remember that PySpark needs everything to be in numerical type vectors and arrays, and that actually brings us to our next thing here, is creating up our vector assembler. So from PySpark.ml.linear algebra, let's import our vector. Then we also want from PySpark.ml.feature, we want to import our vector assembler. Okay, and so here's a little bit of a quick cheat, okay, because I know what's coming up next is we're actually going to create our vector assembler. Is let's go on and grab our index.columns, okay, because we're going to need this list. It's going to save us a little bit of time. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do, and maybe I should zoom in a little bit more for you guys, and I'll zoom out when it's needed, is we're going to create an assembler. So vector assembler, here, and then we need a couple things. We need our input columns, and this is going to take a list, okay, and I'm going to go on, and then we're also going to take and create output column here, and that output column, we're going to call it features. So what this input column is actually going to need is we're going to grab this whole sucker here, paste it. Now we don't need a couple things. We don't need our ship name and our cruise line, because we actually went on and created our cruise cat. Okay, that takes care of our, and right now I'm just cleaning things up because I'm a little OCD on that. I don't like that doing it. The next thing we also need to get rid of is we need to get rid of crew. Okay, because we're going to be crew is going to be our prediction variable. Okay, that's what we want. So we need to make sure that that's out. So we need this input columns list, and we need this output column called features. Okay, because it's going to turn and vectorize our columns. Okay, and we'll take a look at what that means here in just a second. So next we want our output. So that's our assembler dot transform on our indexed data. Okay, and then output dot select. And here I'm just going to grab features, and I also want the crew. Okay, and we can see here what's happened. So it here it created all of these, it condensed all of our feature variables into a single vector, okay, for us to use. And again, remember, this is what we need in order to create and actually run our regressions, okay? So we have our features, and then we have our either our label or our our prediction variable, okay? So let's go on and actually run a linear regression, okay? So first, let's go on and subset our data. So final data here is going to be output.select. Here we want features, and we want crew. And then we also need to split our data, okay? So train data, test data here is going to be our final data dot random split here, and I want this to be done in what? Let's do 70% for our test and 30% for our 70% for our train, 30% for our test. We're going to set our seed to 42. Okay. Now setting the seed again, this is to make sure again. So there may be some small variations again. However, this train test is split up. Okay. So this is making sure that we all have the same data. Okay. The training and test sets. So let's go on and grab our linear regression. So from PySpark.ml.regression, import our linear regression. And then we'll actually go in and create a model here. And this is going to be linear regression is our linear regression model, and our label column here is going to be crew, because that's what we're wanting to run our regression on. So let's go on and create up a model here, and that's our linear regression dot fit, and we need our train data on here. Run that, and then we can go on and grab a couple things. And so let's import pandas as PD, and we'll use this here in a second. So our coefficients for this model are going to be what? What do we want here? Model dot what? Coefficients, okay, and our names, let me go up here and grab them. Call names, is that. So then now we've saved them. And this is just to kind of get a nice kind of picture about what the data looks like. So we can do something like pd.data frame, and we want in here, actually, you know what, we'll do variable names with our column names, and then we want our coefficients with our coefficients. We can run this, and now we can actually kind of see how nice this looks. And again, we don't have our p-values or anything else in here right now, but we can at least kind of see what's happening here. So what is the most important thing here when it comes to selecting the number of crew that are going to be on a cruise ship? Well, that is definitely the number of cabins, okay? So for every one cabin, okay, more that we have, okay, we're going to need 0.9 more crew members. So, and then the length, okay, is going to do the same thing, okay? It's going to be, but it's about, you're going to need about half a crew member for every, maybe, I don't know if this is maybe in meters or something, so maybe every extra meter or I don't know, fathom. I don't know what the length is, but for whatever one unit of this is, you need about another half of a crewmate. So this is very useful to us in stating kind of what is really important. So, and again, also this is kind of saying, oh, well, the more cabins you have, the more people. But again, maybe the passengers themselves doesn't seem to really matter a whole lot. It actually has a negative impact in there, and same thing with the density. So maybe this number of cabins is more along the lines of just saying how large the ship is itself and how many people it's possible to hold. So that's actually considerably more important to us. So let's also go on and create up and take a look at our test results. Let's evaluate how well we actually did. So let's do our results here is going to be our model.evaluate here on our test data. We'll run that, and then let's go on and actually create up something a little bit nicer for us. Let's turn this into an F string, and let's say a linear regression results report. And then let's just do a bunch of equal signs here. Okay, and then let's also do something like RMSE. We'll do a tab here, and we want our results dot root mean squared error. We want our, let's do maybe MSE with a tab, results mean squared error, and then maybe let's do our R squared, and do something here as res.r2. And you know what, let's also go on and do our adjusted R squared, and then do res R2 adjusted. And then maybe put that there as well so it kind of looks pretty. So here are our results. Now, basically what we're saying is that our model explains about 91% of the reasoning behind why crews would go up or go down. So our model is actually relatively accurate. This is a good thing for us. So look back in previous videos and we can talk about using RMSEs and all of that other stuff. But again, right now we'll just talk about using the R squared. Now let's actually say, all right, this is great. This is pretty good. Now let's actually just check the data just a little bit closer. Okay. So we know that, for example, cabins is actually pretty important. Now, for some reason, I assumed that that the passengers were going to be important as well. So let's actually check that, looking at the correlations between them. Okay. So from PySpark.sql.functions, we're going to import core. Okay, and then let's go df.select and core of the crew and the passengers. And again, notice here we're doing this on the data frame itself. Okay. All right, so there's a Pierce correlation here of about 92%. Let's also look at, I'm going to grab this. I don't want to have to type it out again. Oops. And instead of passengers here, we want cabins. Okay, and again, notice here it has a higher correlation. So this is definitely really important. Okay, so it does kind of make sense that at least this has a little bit more correlation the cabins do. Now, that's good news for us, all right? That means that we can actually, like if you guys are doing this and talking about it working for a company, you can actually say, look, I'm relatively accurate that I'm certain that this is going to be happening, that you need to really be paying attention to the number of cabins whenever you're selecting the number of crew. And then overall, that's going to be how you would be doing this, okay, if you're doing some sort of consulting job or anything else. If you guys like this, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.